Hello everyone. Welcome to Facts You Need to Know channel, a place to share interesting stories of countries around the world. Referring to England, specifically London, many people often call it the land of fog, or as we understand that the weather in London in winter has a lot of fog. So the capital of England is called so, but the truth is not really like that. There is a centuries-old story about this name of England, and the following will be the story of the land of fog. Let's first learn a little about London. London is the capital and largest city of England, and of both the United Kingdom and Northern Ireland. This city has a history of more than 2,000 years. The Romans came to England and established a settlement near the River Thames. During the Middle Ages, London developed constantly, and became one of the commercial centers of Europe since then. According to statistics, the current population of London is about 9.5 million people. Along with New York City in the United States and Tokyo in Japan, London is one of the 3 command centers for the world economy. Currently, one of the best-known things in London is about industries and financial services. After Paris, London is the second most visited city in the world, attracting about 30 million tourists every year. There are more than 300 different languages spoken in London. It is also one of the most linguistically and culturally diverse cities in the world, with over 170 museums in London. As we are still approaching through the media, one of the most impressive things in London is the bus, and the second thing is the metro. As you may not know, one of the ideas proposed when using the underground transport system is that they will fill up the water and use the barge to take people from station to station, or use horsepower to pull trains from station to station. That's a very bold idea. Now we will get into the main story. London, the land of fog. Fog has long been an integral part of people's lives in London. Due to its geographical location, the British capital often has warmer temperatures than other places in the summer, but the winter is very cold. Over the course of many months, on the foggy streets, it formed one of the features that are often mentioned when talking about this city. However, the situation has become much more serious. After the Industrial Revolution initiated at the end of 1700, when the Industrial Revolution broke out, the number of factories in England in general increased exponentially. During operation, these plants emitted toxic substances into the atmosphere. It is no different from smoking in a closed room. The polluted air will not be able to escape when the 4 sides are fog. Some chemicals mixed with water and air can turn into acids that irritate the skin, have difficulty breathing and even corrode buildings. This pollution fog is easily recognized by its thickness, odor, which is completely different from the pure white fog in many other areas in the UK. During the 19th and early 20th centuries, London was famous for the phenomenon of dense fog that appeared in November, which was a consequence of the process of air pollution, not from the fluttering rain or the gray sky in winter. In Charles Dickens' Bleak House, he describes, "Smoke came down the chimneys, forming a soft rain of soot, grain by grain as big as snowflakes." In 1800, the population of London was only about 1 million people. After that, this number increased rapidly, and reached the mark of 2 million people in 1830. It is important to note that the population at that time with a city in the world was extremely large. Along with the development of canals, railways, the city has become the economic center of industries such as printing paper, chemicals, gas and even footwear. Hundreds of people came to the city to find work, leading to the development of the suburbs. The air pollution from the factories has been much. Now there is more pollution from the British people themselves. Because in the cold winter, people have to burn coal for heating. And that's another reason why the air gets dirtier. When Britain's Queen, Victoria, ascended the throne in 1837, fog interfered with movement, whether you walked or rode in a carriage. One of the late 19th century studies showed that, during the second half of the 19th century, London averaged 63 days of fog per year. At that time, the children in London had devised a profession. They carried homemade torches, guided the ladies and gentlemen around in the dark alleys, and then collected fees. There were a lot of people in the late 19th century. On winter days they had evacuated London to escape the pollution of the air. But there are still some romantic writers who consider this a natural phenomenon, and they take it as their inspiration. It seemed that the situation at that time was very bad. But from the middle of the 20th century, the fog in London became even worse. London at that time had experienced 5 days of death, during which the visibility in the places was reduced to only about 1 meter. People on the road no longer even see their feet. Limited visibility has made vehicle travel extremely difficult, or even impossible. Public transport has been shut down, except for the subway system. The ambulance system has the same fate, causing people with health problems to go to the hospital on their own. The fog has even penetrated inside buildings, causing concerts or movie screenings to be cancelled, and sporting events at this time are also seriously affected. In fact, London has long been famous for its fog, so the people as well as the authorities here were initially relatively peaceful. However, they were shocked when they saw the figures of the health authorities. The statistics showed the very high costs paid by the people of London. Within a few days, 4,000 people died from the fog, and more than 100,000 others were also recorded to have health problems. Most of the victims were elderly or children. The main causes of death here are identified as respiratory infections and hypoxia. As mentioned, 4,000 people died, but later research figures proved that up to 12,000 people died during this period. In addition, fog also causes many people's pets to die from asphyxiation. According to later estimates, every day of this dangerous fog, up to 1,000 tons of smoke particles, 2,000 tons of carbon dioxide and many other harmful substances were released into the air, especially due to chemical action. It is estimated that 370 tons of sulfur dioxide has turned into 800 tons of sulfuric acid. London was like a giant vial of acid in the laboratory. Faced with the above situation, they need to find a way to solve it thoroughly. With that said, Londoners have tended to accept air pollution as a part of life. Until 1956, 4 years after London's worst days for air pollution, the Clean Air Act has forced residential and commercial industries to dispose of the exhaust gas, which is not allowed to use coal as a natural gas fuel. This act took many years to take effect, because it is not easy to change an energy source in a short time. Time passes. Today when you come to London, the fog is really fog. It is no longer the story of the previous air pollution, and no longer the obsession with the people about a terrible period. Because of that, at the present time, many people when referring to the land of fog, have forgotten the origin of this name. In the past, London was also one of the cities that witnessed a pandemic in Europe, which was the plague pandemic. The pandemic killed about 25 million people, about a third of Europe's population in the 15th century. This is also the end of an interesting story about the land of fog. Thank you for following this story. If you find it interesting, don't forget to like the video and subscribe. Now, goodbye and see you in the next sections.